So what do you do when your tomato plants are taking over your garden? Well, you could consider topping them. And I know that sounds extreme and counterintuitive, but in this video, I'm going to show you when you should and how to do so safely for maximum yield and optimal health. Indeterminate tomato plants, those are the ones of our classic favorites. It's the ones we most often grow. They're also the ones that keep on growing all through the season and putting on fruit, basically until the last frost. Now, you have two options. If you have the room and the inclination, you could just let these grow and you'll be fine. There's no harm in that. But if you're trying to tame the size, that's when you want to consider topping. And if that's the choice you make, here's how you do it. You decide where you want to make the cut, and typically you look for that last fruit set at the highest point where you're willing to cut above that. So let's take this particular branch right here. Now, if this were being supported by other branches, it would still be growing up, but it's the outer branch, and so it's starting to flop over, which is another reason why you might want to make the cut. Once this continues to go over and the weight of exterior fruit pulls it down, it's going to kink this vine, and you really don't want that because that can cause later problems. So in looking at this, here's that last fruit set that I think is the best place to make the cut. And as I make the cut, I look for a safe place just above it that still provides some foliage relief to prevent or avoid sun scald, and that's very important. So anywhere from here on out is a good place to make this cut, and then I'll look for areas around it where I can still protect this fruit. And this is gone. Now this is counterintuitive for gardeners because you see I have more tomatoes right here, and more flower buds means future tomatoes later, but at the same time, it's going to take a long time for these to mature, and timing-wise, I may not even be able to make it before the first frost comes on. So either way, those are gone, and now I have my last fruit set. Okay, so now I'm looking at how to protect this from sun scald, and so this looks like an important leaf to maybe kind of block some of the sun's direct rays, but I need to also cut this. So I'll cut it just above that leaf set right there to provide some shade. And its neighbor, looks like this is an important leaf, so I'll leave that one. Okay, that looks a little more tame and about all I'm willing to cut at this point. But the other benefit of making those cuts is that for every one that you make, you basically have a new plant. If you want to stick it in a glass of water in a couple weeks, it'll have enough roots to stick it in the ground. But what I do, I take the cutting and I stick it directly into the ground and just keep it watered. It's a great way to propagate some of your favorite varieties. But either way you want to go, if you've got the room, just let it go. But if you want to control its growth and size, go ahead and tame it with a little bit of topping.